Our Chicago Bulls are really going through the meat grinder these next few weeks, and it has been an up and down last few post All-Star games for the Chicago Bulls, who are still in second place of the Eastern Conference standings right now at 39-23 as of this recording. They will be playing the Atlanta Hawks on Thursday night. Then on Friday, a date with Giannis and the defending NBA champion Milwaukee Bucks. And on Monday, another game against the tough 76ers, the new look 76ers. And they finally get to get a little breathing room with the Pistons, a game against Cleveland, and then the Kings. But Devin, it gets tougher. You got the Jazz coming up. You got the Suns coming up. You got the Raptors coming up. The Bucks coming up. The Pelicans, the Cavaliers, finally with the Knicks and the Wizards and the Clippers. So it's a little while until the end of the month when this Bulls team finally gets a quote-unquote rest period. But by then, you're getting a bunch of guys back like Alonzo Ball, like an Alex Caruso, hopefully a Patrick Williams. Devin, as you've been watching this team, as we've been watching this team here on the Sports Cubicle with Paul Chivari, Dan Marver, Devin Tingle, and myself, Mike Mercado, your thoughts of the Bulls post-All-Star break heading into what is this crazy meat grinder of a schedule?
Well, it's very interesting because you remember before the All-Star break, what was my big gripe against the Bulls? I'm like, you guys need to do better against teams that are not very good. Coming out of the All-Star break, you guys need to do a lot better than teams that are good. The Bulls have not, they are winless against teams that are over 600% here. And that is, what have I said about the White Sox last year? If you can't beat these good teams in regular season, forget about beating them in the playoffs here. And it's getting very, playoffs are only a few months away. We're getting real close. This is put up or shut up time, not just for the Bulls, for the rest of the team. I mean, look at their game Monday against the Heat. The Heat are a very good team. If the Bulls were to lose the Heat normally, I would be like, you know what? This is a good team. I completely understand it here. But seeing just how the Bulls really, they did not look like the Bulls I have seen throughout the rest of the season here. Because what I've noticed about the Bulls is they'll always be down big in the first quarter. Second quarter, they'll keep it close. They'll take the lead in the third. And the fourth quarter, it's hit or miss whether they're going to take the lead or keep it here. The Heat ran that were leading that game the entire time here. And there are sloppy errors and penalties that just you don't be making if you're a good team here. And it really, the question I want to ask to you, Mercado, is because you can't blame this on the injuries, but you also can't say the Bulls are a fluke. They're in second place still. And we're now in this very kind of in the middle phase between those two. So I'm curious, where do you think the Bulls are? Because I'm like, this isn't just on the injuries, and the Bulls are clearly not a fluke here, as they can still win against teams that are, around the 500 range. Just, I'm curious, where do you think that middle line is here, and what do you think the problem is?
I think we're generally very positive about the Bulls, but the realism of this team's expectations have changed. In the beginning of the season, they were a nice surprise. They were doing things that got us very excited. So the goalposts moved. And the goalposts moved to, can you be a contender? Sure, they could be a contender. The problem is the Eastern Conference is really stacked, and not just stacked really well against a team like the Chicago Bulls. This is a team that doesn't play good defense without Alex Caruso. We haven't really seen this team gel together because they haven't been healthy. But here's the problem. Neither has the Miami Heat. Neither have the Brooklyn Nets. Neither has Philadelphia. These teams have made big trades. Boston has kind of come full circle and finally getting into good shape. This is the problem with what the Bulls are facing right now, is they're relying on a second-round rookie. We love Ayo DeSumo here. We love the local story. But the facts are still the fact. It's not just that he's a top round, a top end, top 5 draft pick. Maybe in a redraft he is. But you're relying regardless on a rookie. You are relying on Javonte Green, Derrick Jones Jr. You're relying on DeMar DeRozan to put up 30-plus points and shooting over 50%. You need Nikola Vucevic to not be bullied around. You need this team to stop giving up offensive rebounds. There's nothing that kills a team more, especially in the playoffs, after you've played a good defensive set, and then that ball hits that rim, and they get an offensive rebound. And they get a cheap 2 points, or they get a cheap and 1. That will break your back in a playoffs. This team doesn't have playoff experience. Not together. There are individuals who have gone to conference finals, who have been to NBA championships, who have won NBA championships, but not together. We've not seen Zach LaVine, who wants a max contract, who probably deserves a max contract, has carried this franchise. We've never seen him in a playoff. We've never seen Vooch in a meaningful playoff series. We've never seen DeMar not just be the man, but be an MVP candidate. These things are real. And it's not just a Bulls fan being pessimistic. Look around the league. What happens when you do have to play Joel Embiid? And they are able to play in and out with him and James Harden. What happens if Ben Simmons only needs to play defense and Kevin Durant, who's making a return on Thursday, is able to do what he does, and Kyrie Irving is able to play because restrictions have been lowered? What if you play Boston in the first round? This Bulls team right now, how they're playing, I think needs to get a series against Charlotte or against Atlanta to have a real shot of making it to the next round. But the bottom line is every team in the NBA Eastern Conference kind of has that. And, I know we're talking about the Bulls. You look at the Western Conference. I mean, Phoenix, Utah, Memphis. Like, there are so many good teams and teams that have had injuries. So am I so happy and surprised how the Bulls have turned this around, how AK and Mark Eversley have done such a aggressive but smart job? Absolutely. Who I can never forgive is Gar Forman and John Paxson for never going for it in a much weaker Eastern Conference all those years. And now the Eastern Conference is nothing but an ocean full of jaws. But Devin, I mean, as we don't want to be overreacting, but we want to be realistic here. This Bulls team if everything goes right, they can win an NBA Finals. But if everything just kind of if everything is equal, they can also be eliminated in the first round. I do think they've guaranteed themselves to not play in the play-in tournament. But the way the schedule is, you can't count all your chickens.
Very true. And you forget, Mercado, we're Chicago sports fans. We overreact about everything with any team here, no matter what. They could lose. They could be on like a 17-game win streak, lose one game, like, oh, now we need to start getting worried, no matter who the damn team is. But definitely, you bring a good point, because that's what I've been noticing. The Bulls, their defense, it's just not there. It's non-existent. It could be on Caruso, but this team, they mesh so well together on offense. But how many times do we see a good defense shut down a good offense? And when you're looking at a lot of these teams the Bulls are facing, they don't have just a good defense. They got a good offense to balance that off together perfectly here. And the Bulls need to kind of really start realizing that and mesh well together here. Because, yeah, as you said, Ball and Caruso, they come back. That's great. They're not the only guys coming back this year or around this time here. We're going to have, real competition, I guess you would call it here. So definitely something this team needs to get serious, in my opinion here. Not saying that they're not serious, but we need to start not letting these things happen here. We see the flaws of the defense. Why is it the Bulls always take a huge lead, deficit in the first quarter? What the hell is wrong with you there? Because it only takes a matter of time for a team that comes back in the fourth quarter gets shut down. That's what the Heat did to them Monday. That's like, nope, yeah, we see what you do. We learned your little trick book here. And, that only gets you so far here. Once you get to professionals, college sports, way different story there. But this team, I'm sounding redundant saying this thing. I need to get serious here. We need to figure out, we need to work on these problems with defense here. But at the same time, kind of goes back to our thing on the MLB here. And as you said, no one thought this Bulls team would be very good. Do you think just the owners right now, they're just happy the Bulls are winning and people are buying tickets and jerseys and T-shirts here? And that might be the thing here. Yeah, that, again, hate to kind of, throw us on a derail there, but it's like, at the rate we're going here, it's like, oh, you were predicting your team to be not so good. Critics said the DeMar DeRozan deal was terrible. And it's very funny how it's like, this could be your MVP, and I'd love to see those guys just eat those words going back. But it really makes me wonder here. Do you think that the owners care here? Do you think they're trying, that they want to see, they want to win, or are they just more happy this team is producing well, probably going to get to the playoffs, probably going to get knocked out in the first round here? And the real big thing that we've noticed with the Chicago Bulls, we go back to the, Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah days. They made it to the playoffs. Great. Did they do it again after that? They were contenders, but did they, really go any further? And did anyone seem to really care? It was like, we had that one good season. We made some money. All right, let's wait another 10 years and until we're hurting again.
Yeah, that team ran into the Miami Heat, and their Rose injury happened, and then they would eventually lose to the Cavaliers in the second round of the playoffs after being up. LeBron hit that big three-pointer. Yeah, I mean, I think the Reinsdorfs are happy that their team is good. I think they're happy that they're making money. I think they're happy that the vibes are great at the United Center. And I think just to show you how fast things change, the fact that they're the talk of the town now, that people are excited that it's a hot ticket, and this was a dumpster fire of a front office just 2.5 years ago. So that's how fast things could change. And we're going to see if this team, even if they win a series, they win the whole thing. Fact remains, they've made improvement and they've taken the right steps. It's frustrating right now. We want them to win important games because we're investing in them. But if this team keeps doing what they're doing, they're at least going to be in them. They got to play better defense. They got to get healthy. But we want to know your thoughts. Do you think the Bulls have a legit shot of winning the NBA Finals? Post All-Star break, are you still feeling that way? We're on Twitter at Sports Cubicle TV. It's Paul Chivari. It's Dan Marver. It's Devin Tingle. I'm Mike Mercado.